Okay, this one's about voter fraud. I believe there will be a major effort by the Democratic Party to steal the upcoming election, primarily in swing states. This theory is based on a simple common sense. The Democratic Party commits huge resources to fight any state that proposes a bill that would require a picture ID in order to vote. Their argument, lame as it is, claims that poor and minority groups would be disenfranchised. Let's face it, in this day and age, you can't get a bank account, a social security card. You can't board a plane, cash a check, or even get a job in most places without some form of photo ID. Even colleges require their students to obtain a student ID with a photo in most cases. And in order to get that ID, you usually need a driver's license, which requires at least 2 other forms of ID, like a birth certificate, for instance. Let's face it, if you can't get to your local Department of Motor Vehicles to obtain either a driver's license or a state identification card, you can't get to the polls to vote anyway. Voting is probably the most important thing any citizen can do. It's the very basis that our representative government is built on. With that in mind, it's simple common sense that we require those who cast a ballot prove not only that they are who they say they are, but they are entitled to vote in the first place. As I said, the Democratic Party commits huge resources to fight any state that even proposes a bill that would require a picture ID. So you have to ask yourself why. Taking into consideration that every argument that they use to oppose proof that you're entitled to vote simply makes no sense to any rational person, you can only come to the conclusion that there's a concerted effort on the part of the Democratic Party to try to ensure that the very real possibility of widespread voter fraud exists. When the average person is required to produce a photo ID, even to cash a personal check, it only makes sense that we set at least that standard when electing those who will be spending billions of taxpayers' money. The very idea that we should allow any clown that walks in off the street to cast a vote that has the potential to affect all of our lives with substantial long-term consequences is simply laughable on its face. So know in your heart that when you hear anyone oppose the requirement of a photo ID in order for a citizen to vote, that there's something seriously wrong, and that that person or group has only one goal in mind, and that goal is to undermine your constitutional right to an honest and free election process. After all, it's only common sense.